Hi, students. One of the main focuses in this class is finding, analyzing, using primary sources. And part of that is looking at the bias of the primary source. A lot of time, my students get confused on this. They're used to thinking of bias like bias training or something like prejudice, something very negative. But when we're looking at it in this context, we're really just saying, what are the factors that are going together to influence this source? What perspective is it taking? And I was looking at the news today, as I do every day, on January 11th, and it just gave me a unique opportunity to talk about bias because there's a lot going on in our country today. So here is CNN's headline for today. Democrats unveil impeachment charge. CNN is a mainstream news site, but it is definitely left leaning, and they are talking about the impeachment. This is a huge deal, and this is how CNN is addressing it. Uh, I think that many of you are probably used to thinking about bias in terms of like this liberal, and then here we are, conservative. This is the Fox News, very right leaning website. They are also talking about the impeachment, but they're taking a different perspective on it. That's part of their bias. They are talking about a conflict of interest, perhaps, between Biden and what he wants for his first 100 days versus Pelosi, who's moving ahead with impeachment. Now, we can look at conservative liberal, we can look at politics like that, but let's think about different bias. This is the Chicago Tribune. This is our local paper. What are they talking about? It's not, the big headline is not impeachment. It is CPS schools reopen after 10 months. This has been going on for months and months, the conflict between the teachers' unions, the needs of the students. This has been a big deal, and today's the day. So in spite of everything that's going on nationally, locally, the Tribune has decided to focus on this, as well as the Bears' playoff loss to the Saints. Are they talking about impeachment? Yes, they are. It's right here. But their focus is local. That's their bias. So that's why the headlines look like this. What about some other sites? Here's Parents. This is a well known magazine. This is in every pediatrician's office, the print version of it. Um, they don't have any headlines about politics because their bias is not to talk about politics. It's their bias is to talk about families. That's what this site is for. Are they influenced though by what's going on nationally? Obviously, we're talking about raising kind children. If we were analyzing this 20 or 30 years in the future, I would expect students to say, okay, there's a lot of conflict in our country, and so this magazine is responding to that. That's part of their bias. What about something different? This is one of my husband's favorite sites. He's a tech guy. That's what his job and his hobby as well. This is Engadget. This is his favorite site. Has nothing to do with any of that. There's nothing on here about the impeachment. There's nothing in here about teaching kindness or anti-bullying or rallies or politics or anything. Does that mean that this is a bad site? No, it means that their bias is only to talk about tech. We aren't talking about good or bad with any of these. We're talking about what's their background, what's their perspective, what's influencing them. Sometimes I have students say, well, this is a news site. So there's no bias, they're just reporting the facts. There's a bias between these two. They're both reporting facts. They're just doing it differently. Even the choice of photos is different. The choice of colors is different. So all of that together is what we're talking about when we're talking about analyzing primary sources and their bias.